No one's coming to save you. Not your parents, not your friends, not some magical opportunity, not even the version of you that you hope to become one day. Because hope isn't a strategy. Wishing isn't a plan. You want change? You want power? You want to stop being the person everyone overlooks? Then listen up, because this life, your life, is 100% your responsibility now. No rescues, no shortcuts, no handouts. Just you and the fire you build inside. And the moment you finally realize that is the same moment everything starts to change. Welcome to the truth. Now get ready to build your way out. Let's get something straight. Waiting is a trap. It feels safe. It feels smart. It feels like preparation. But most of the time, it's fear in disguise. Waiting for the perfect time, waiting until you feel ready, waiting for someone to give you permission. Newsflash, there is no perfect time. Readiness is a myth, and no one is coming to tap you on the shoulder and say, now's the moment. You're the one who decides that. Because while you wait, life doesn't. The clock is ticking, the window is closing, and every second you hesitate, your potential slips further into the grave. You don't build a legendary life by planning forever. You build it by moving, even when it's messy, even when you're unsure, even when your hands are shaking. You learn by doing. You grow by going. And the confidence you think you need before you begin, it's built by beginning. So stop overthinking. Stop playing out the what-ifs in your head. Stop talking about the life you want and start building it. Because momentum doesn't come from more information. It comes from movement. Let's get something straight. You don't need more motivation. You don't need another perfect plan. You need discipline. Because discipline is the gatekeeper. It's the silent force standing between where you are and where you're meant to be. Most people, they wait to feel ready. They wait to feel inspired. But the 1%, they move regardless of feeling. They understand that your emotions lie. That comfort whispers things like, take it easy, you've earned a break. Just one more scroll. But discipline whispers back, not today. Keep going. This is who we are now. It's brushing your teeth when no one's watching. It's getting up at 5 a.m. when the world is still asleep. It's choosing the cold shower, the early run, the boring rep. It's doing what needs to be done, even when it's invisible. Because discipline is never about the big wins. It's built in the quiet, in the dark, when no one's clapping, and you show up anyway. You want to build a life others only dream about? Then stop waiting for a spark. Start forging the fire. Discipline is the gatekeeper. Let it open the door to your evolution. The most dangerous lies? They're not the ones the world tells you. They're the ones you whisper to yourself in silence. I'm not good enough. I always screw things up. People like me never make it. Those aren't facts. They're scars. And if you don't rewrite them, you'll relive them. See, your story becomes your standard. If you keep saying you're broken, don't be surprised when your life keeps falling apart. But here's the truth no one taught you. You get to choose your identity. You get to decide what role you play, so stop repeating the script of your pain. Start writing the story of your power. Say it. I am becoming someone who doesn't quit. I am becoming someone who shows up, no matter what. I am the author now, and I'm writing a comeback. Let me tell you something that most people never figure out. You don't change your life by changing your routine. You change your life by changing the person you believe you are. Because identity, it's the blueprint behind every action. You'll never build a disciplined life while telling yourself, I'm just lazy. You'll never take bold steps forward while holding on to, I always mess things up. So the first step, tear down that old script. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are not the person who gave up before. Start building from within. Start saying, I am someone who follows through. I am someone who keeps their word. I am becoming the kind of man I admire. Because when your identity shifts, your habits follow, your standards rise, and the world around you starts to move differently because you started showing up differently. Everyone talks about motivation. They wait for the perfect morning, the right mood, that spark of inspiration to finally start. But here's what no one tells you. Motivation is a visitor. It shows up when it wants. It leaves without notice. And if that's all you're relying on, you'll stay stuck forever. The real builders, the ones who rise from nothing, they don't wait to feel like it. They don't check their mood before they take action. They decide who they are, and then they act like it. Discipline isn't sexy, it's not flashy, it won't get you applause, but it will get you results. Because discipline shows up when you don't want to. It pushes you through when your mind screams stop. It builds character in silence, long before anyone sees your success. Every time you train tired, study exhausted, wake up early when you'd rather sleep, you're stacking bricks that motivation never could. And over time, those bricks become your foundation. So don't ask, do I feel like it today? Ask, what would the man I'm becoming do right now? Then do that every damn day. Let's stop pretending that greatness comes without pain. Every man who's ever built something real suffered for it. Not just physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. They've been misunderstood. They've been laughed at. They've walked alone when others chose comfort. But here's the truth. Pain isn't the enemy. Comfort is. Pain is the currency you pay for progress. Discomfort is the toll booth standing between the man you are and the man you could be. You think successful people love waking up early? You think they don't feel fear, doubt, or fatigue? They do. But they've learned to push through it. They've trained themselves to stop associating pain with punishment and start associating it with purpose. When it burns, that's the moment most people quit, but not you. You'll learn to lean in. You'll learn to suffer with intention because you've realized every rep, every rejection, every lonely night is shaping something stronger. If you want to rise, you've got to bleed a little. You've got to ache for it. You've got to feel the pain and keep moving anyway. That's how transformation happens. Not when it's easy, but when it's hard and you keep going. Let me tell you a brutal truth most people miss. Hustle alone won't save you. Sure, it's glorified. Work hard, grind, sleep less, do more. But if you're not building systems, you're just running in circles. See, hustle gives you effort, but systems give you freedom. The average man burns out. He chases results with brute force, again and again. And every time something breaks, he starts over from zero. But the man who builds systems, he creates momentum. He sets up habits, triggers, routines that work for him, even on the days he doesn't feel like working. Systems are what separate a man who's always tired from a man who's always ahead. Because you can't rely on motivation forever. You can't rely on energy or willpower, but you can rely on structure. The world is filled with men who hustle hard and stay broke because they never stop to ask, is what I'm doing actually scalable? Listen, you don't rise by doing more. You rise by doing smarter. So if you want to build something that lasts, don't just hustle harder, systemize. Automate what you can, schedule what matters, track what grows. Build your life like a machine. Because when systems run, you don't burn out, you break through. They start the book, they start the workout, they start the business, but they never finish. That's the habit keeping millions of people stuck. They are addicted to the start because starting feels exciting. Finishing requires endurance. See, when you start something new, your brain rewards you. It feels fresh, it feels fun, it makes you feel like you're moving forward. But real growth doesn't come from starting. It comes from sticking. It comes from slogging through the boring middle when nobody's clapping, when doubt creeps in, when quitting would be so easy. Most men never finish anything, so they never become anything. Because every time you quit early, you reinforce that you're not the type of man who sees things through. And that identity, it kills your confidence. So stop starting 100 things. Start one. and finish it like your life depends on it, because your future does. Let me tell you something most people won't admit. They're not failing because the path is hard. They're failing because the path is boring. We live in a world addicted to stimulation. Scrolls, clicks, notifications, dopamine hits. And the moment the grind gets quiet, they panic. They think something's wrong. They mistake peace for stagnation. And so they quit the thing that's working just because it doesn't feel exciting anymore. But here's the truth. Greatness is boring. It's reps. It's routines. It's doing the same tiny things every day, especially when it's not fun. The men who rise, they've made peace with monotony. They don't chase the next hack or hype. They build brick by brick, without applause. Because they know results aren't born in fireworks. They're forged in silence. So if you're addicted to chaos, to stimulation, to starting over just for the rush of new, break it. Because if you don't learn to master boredom, it will master you. Most people run from boredom like it's the enemy. They crave stimulation. Every second. The moment life gets quiet, they scroll. The second things slow down, they need noise. But here's what the 1% know. Boredom isn't your enemy. It's a gateway. That silence, that stillness, it's where clarity is born. It's where your deepest ideas come alive. It's where the real work begins. Because progress doesn't always look exciting. Sometimes it's repetition, it's patience. It's doing the same thing again and again, while the world screams for novelty. The average man can't sit in silence, but the great ones, they train their minds to be still, to focus, to stay locked in on the mission, even when it's dull. You want to build something unbreakable? Get comfortable being bored. Let's be honest. Most people are busy, but not productive. They chase tasks, not transformation. They fill their calendars, respond to every notification, jump from one thing to the next, and at the end of the day, they still feel stuck. Why? Because movement isn't the same as momentum. Activity isn't the same as achievement. You can sprint all day in the wrong direction and still end up nowhere. The 1% know the difference. They don't just ask, what am I doing today? They ask, is what I'm doing actually moving me forward? They track progress. They audit their focus. They cut the fluff. They choose impact over motion. Because a life built on busyness will never produce greatness. But a life built on clarity, purpose, and execution, that's unstoppable. Let's get one thing clear. Motivation is a visitor. It shows up when it wants, and it leaves without warning. If your success depends on motivation, you're building your future on sand. The truth? The great ones? The 1%, they don't rely on feeling like it. They've built something stronger. Discipline. They show up when it's boring. They work when it's raining. They push when nobody's watching. Because they don't need a reason. They've already made the decision. Motivation is emotional, but discipline is a promise you make and keep to yourself. And here's the irony. The more you act with discipline, the more motivation finds its way back. It's attracted to momentum. So stop waiting for the perfect mood. Stop refreshing your feed hoping for a quote to spark you. Be your own ignition. Show up, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. That's how the 1% live. Most people don't know this, but fear quietly runs their life. Not the kind of fear that screams, the kind that whispers, what if you fail? What if they laugh? What if you're not good enough? So they play it safe. They stay where it's comfortable. They make smart choices that keep them stuck in average. But here's the truth. Fear doesn't protect your future. It paralyzes your potential. The moment you start making decisions from fear instead of vision, you trade growth for comfort, progress for safety, purpose for permission. Look around. How many people do you know are trapped in jobs they hate, relationships they've outgrown, lives they didn't choose? All because fear had the final say. But if you want to rise, you must become dangerous to your fears. You must look them in the eye and move anyway. Not fearless, but fear-trained. Not reckless, but relentless. The ones who build extraordinary lives, they still feel fear, but they don't obey it. They act. And in doing so, they prove that courage was never the absence of fear. It was choosing to move in spite of it. They say, I'm not ready yet. I'll start when I'm more confident, when I know enough, when I feel enough, when life calms down. But here's the truth. That feeling, it's a lie. Not ready is fear. Wearing the mask of logic, you'll never feel fully ready to chase something big. And if you wait for that magical moment, you'll wait forever. Every master you admire, they started unready. They moved with shaky hands and uncertain hearts. But they moved anyway, because they understood something most never learn. Readiness isn't a feeling, it's a decision. A choice to step forward in the dark, to figure it out midair, to trust that action builds confidence, not the other way around. So stop waiting. You're not too early, you're not too late, you're just on time. This moment, this one right here, it's your green light, go. Most people wake up and immediately react. They check their phone, they scroll, they respond to emails, messages, and noise. They don't act, they react. They don't build, they bounce. And over time, they become slaves to everyone else's agenda but their own. But the 1%, they move with intention. They create their day. They protect their focus. They design a life instead of being dragged through one. They know this. If you don't command your time, someone else will. If you don't define your mission, distraction will devour it. The truth? You cannot become powerful while living in reaction. You need silence. You need structure. You need a plan that starts with your goals, your vision, and your identity. So stop being the passenger. Become the architect. Create the life before the world fills it with noise. Let me tell you the most dangerous lie people believe. I have time. They think they can wait. Wait to start. Wait to fix it. Wait to become who they're meant to be. But life doesn't wait. Time doesn't slow down because you're confused. It doesn't pause because you're scared. It doesn't stop because you're not ready. Every day you delay, it costs you something. Not just money or progress, but your potential, your confidence, your legacy. The average man lives like he has forever. But the great ones, they act like they have one shot, and because they do. They don't wait for January. They don't wait for motivation. They don't wait for someone to push them. They move, now today, because someday isn't a date on the calendar. It's a graveyard where dreams go to die. And if you keep saying later, you'll look up and realize it's too late. So the final trap isn't failure, it's comfort, it's waiting. You want to win? Start now. This is your life, and the clock is ticking. So move now or regret forever. This is Mountain Fuel.